Y'all, what is going on? This lawsuit is ridiculously detailed. Go ahead and like the video as the intro plays because we're about to get into some stuff. I don't know if you need popcorn or a drink.
I was listening to Make It Make Sense. Shout out to Make It Make Sense. Thank you.
Make it make sense to me intellectually.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
Big moves.
Surfer.
Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
No, this is the party.
Oh, why? I just come back when everybody get hit.
Nah, stay.
Nah, it's cool. I just come back later when everybody get hit.
I said stay!
Oh, Diddy, all right, I'm here.
Party with me, Daddy.
I'll be the first one here, okay. Where everybody at?
It's just me and you in here today. Yeah. Now come dance for Brother Love.
I mean, ain't no music playing right now.
I said dance for Brother Love! Take that.
Sorry. Okay, so, oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was reading over this. There's some things that I'm going to have to like blank out just because of it. This trigger warning is absolutely right. If these kind of things trigger you in any way, you have been forewarned. We're going to be talking inappropriate stuff. We're talking somebody whose manhole was violated. He alleges every day somebody was touching his manhole. It's a lot. So you have been forewarned. We're about to get into this, and it's not good. It's not good at all. This is the man in question, Rodney Jones Jr., and he actually was one of the people who was helping to write and produce this Love album. So he was around, I say manhole because, you know, there's certain, I can't say that, we're not going to say the A word around here. But yeah. And I'm actually happy that this guy came forward because so many people didn't really believe Cassie and this industry, this casting couch shit. It happens. People don't know it, but it happens. But okay, let's get into it. I actually have the court documents queued up. Diddy sued for assault by a former male employee. Diddy's attorney, Sean Hawley, tells TMZ Little Rod is nothing more than a liar who filed a $30 million lawsuit shamelessly looking for an underserved payday. His reckless name dropping about events that are pure fiction and simply did not happen is nothing more than a transparent attempt to garner headlines. She adds, we have overwhelming, indisputable proof that his claims are complete false. Didn't they say this about Cassie? Didn't they say the first day that it was just a money grab? Our attempts to share this proof with Mr. Jones' attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, have been ignored, as Mr. Blackburn refuses to return our calls. We will address these outlandish allegations in court and take all appropriate action against those who make them. So now you're going to sue the people. Now, if you don't know what's going on in Diddy, I was going to do an update, but he basically is alleging that cancel culture has ruined him. Not his behavior, but cancel culture. Okay. Stevie J is in it too. So let's get right to the court documents, y'all. Go ahead and hit that like button. Booty Butter says, I love me a muddy story about, oh my God. I'm gonna have to start reading these things before I read your super chats, Booty Butter. Okay. Okay. It says, trigger warning. This document contains highly graphic information of a SEX nature, including assault. Additionally, there are graphic images of the aftermath of a pow pow, redacted images of SEX, and redacted images of minors, SEX workers, and ladies of the night, or maybe some gentlemen of the night. Details of trafficking and the illegal distribution of pow pows and drugs. This boy put it all in the lawsuit. Matt B says nobody believes Diddy. Okay, here we go. I'm nervous because I only casually glanced over this. So, plaintiff Rodney Lil Rod Jones hereby alleges his complaint of defendant Sean Combs, defendant Justin Dior Combs, defendant Lucian Charles Grange, and defendant Ethiopia Haberterman, defendant Christina Corman, defendants Chalice Recording Studios, defendant Love Records, defendant Motown Records, defendant Universal Music Group, defendant Combs Global, everybody getting sued. Take that. Okay. Parties. Rodney Jones is an American artist and music producer. Mr. Jones resides in the states of New York and California. Defendant Sean Combs is a rapper and record executive producer, popularly known by his stage names Puff Daddy, Puffy, P. Diddy, P on Me Diddy, Diddy, Diddy Do Me, Do Diddy, Brother Love, or Love Mr. Combs. Let me get serious. I'm sorry. Let me get serious. Let's see. He rose to prominence in the music and entertainment industry over the decades and is regularly referred to as a hip hop mogul. Okay, we don't want to say that. We got defendant Justin Combs, Lucian Charles Grange, former CEO of Motown Records, Ethiopia Haberton, chief of staff, defendant Chalice Recording, Popular Recording Studio. Okay. Defendant Motown Records, Motown Universal Music Group, defendant Love Records, defendant Combs Enterprises. Says Rodney Lil Rod Jones is from the Windy City, Chi-Town. He was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. Mr. Jones is the second oldest son and fourth child of 9 siblings. Mr. Jones comes from a long line of gospel music influencers. Mr. Jones started playing instruments at the age of 5. He began playing drums in church, and at the age of 13, he picked up playing the guitar. From 13 to present day, Mr. Jones has taught himself to play over 13 instruments. Mr. Jones is considered a musical prodigy. His talents have led him to produce and create a commercial marketplace for music that has been recorded by some of the most prestigious and highly acclaimed artists in the music industry. Throughout the duration of his career, Mr. Jones has worked the South Side of Chicago music scene, playing with the following legendary greats: Georgia Mass Choir, Donald Lawrence, the Clark Sisters, my favorite is My Living in Vain, and the Smokey Norfolk. On or about August 2022, Mr. Jones received a call from Mr. Combs requesting that he produce several songs on a rhythm and blues album titled The Love Album Off the Grid. Mr. Jones agreed, and his life has been detrimentally impacted ever since. Everybody don't want to do all that stuff with you, Diddy. Let's see. That's the best I can do. Happy says it's out of focus. The document's out of focus. Yeah, that's the best I could do, though. Y'all, we got like 1,300 in the chat. Definitely hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We're well on our way to 135K subscribers. Summary of events. From September 20, 2022 to November 20, 2023, Mr. Jones produced 9 songs on Mr. Combs' Love album. Mr. Jones lived with Mr. Combs for months at a time, spending holidays, birthdays, and missing major family events. Mr. Jones resided at Mr. Combs' residence located in Los Angeles, California, New York City, Miami, and Florida. Mr. Jones also spent several weeks on a yacht rented by Mr. Combs in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Throughout his time with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones witnessed, experienced, and endured many things that went far behind his role as a producer on the Love album. The claims raised in this complaint have been corroborated through witness statements, video, audio recordings, and images that Mr. Jones has in his possession. Mr. Combs required Mr. Jones to record him constantly. On several occasions, Mr. Combs took Mr. Jones' cell phone and began recording himself. As a result, Mr. Jones has secured hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and guests engaging in illegal activity. Mr. Jones has secured irrefutable evidence of the acquisition, use, and distribution of ecstasy, GHB, ketamine, Mary Jane, and mushrooms, the displaying and distribution of unregistered illegal firearms. Mr. Combs provided laced alcohol beverages to minors and ladies of the night or gentlemen of the night at his homes in California, New York, Virgin Islands, and Florida. Mr. Combs' chief of staff, Christina Corman, instructing her staff to receive drugs so she can provide it to Mr. Combs for his consumption. Christian Combs, oh wow. They're alleging that Christian drugged and assaulted a woman. Damn, I didn't read that part before. Are y'all hearing this? Are you hearing this? Damn. If this is true, he effectively put his children in his lifestyle. You then lost your mom, and then the only representative you have left is Diddy. And now he got you involved in this, allegedly. Damn. I hate to see that kind of stuff, honestly, y'all. All jokes aside, like when you have when we heard Lil Kev was following down the same path of addiction as his mom, you hate to hear it. And, Wendy hated to see it. I wanted all those kids to come. I mean, after losing their mom at a young age, you kind of want them to go in a different path. No, Justin is involved in the Pow Pow, allegedly. Christian is the one that they allege is drugging and taking advantage of women. Mr. Combs detailing how he planned to leverage his relationship with Bishop T.D. Jakes to soften the impact of his public image. Now, TD, you had just got out the news. People had moved on. And now you right back in it. He then pulled you right back in. So you were supposed to be there to soften his image and help him through his crisis. Is that what you were supposed to be there for, TD? TD. You just got out the news. Oh, well, let's continue. Y'all, go ahead and hit that like button. Nobody was saying swallowed up. Nobody was saying swallowed up anymore. Okay. Where are we at? Okay, Mr. Combs detailing how he planned to leverage his relationship with Bishop T.D. Jakes to soften the impact of his public image of Cassie Ventar's lawsuit. Young Miami's cousin and or assistant SEXing Mr. Jones, which is the guy who filed the lawsuit. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. sexually harassing, insulting Mr. Jones. Now, Cuba, that's one I'm not surprised about. That's one I'm definitely not surprised about in the slightest. They say Cuba be getting really toe up and living his best life. That's what they be saying. That's what the streets said. I digress. rapper, and there's another rapper, but the name is redacted, on Mr. Combs' yacht consorting with underage girls and ladies and gentlemen of the night. R&B singer redacted. Now, are we thinking this might have been Trey Songz, allegedly? In Mr. Combs' Los Angeles home consorting with underage and ladies and gentlemen of the night. At this point, it could be anybody. Diddy's connected to everybody. And it's starting to feel like Epstein Island. Oh, okay. Oh, we're not even doing the footnotes. Thank you so much. So we do have footnotes at the bottom. This writer spoke with several employees of the yacht rented by Mr. Combs in the U.S. Virgin Islands, who personally witnessed defendant Coram instruct her staff, Brendan Paul, Frankie Santella, and Muiban spike bottles of champagne with ecstasy. Oh, Lord, y'all. This is too much. It's too much. Diddy has to be stopped. It has to stop. It's dangerous. Somebody's going to end up not alive, basically, is what's going to happen. You can't just... Let me continue. 2, complaint is forthcoming. 3, he is a Philadelphia rapper who dated... Oh, my God. How you going to redact it and in the same breath let us know that it's Meek Mill? So let's just go in. Rapper 3 redacted on Mr. Combs' yacht consorting with underage and ladies and gentlemen of the night, but it says he is a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. So now we got to put Meek in it, y'all. Now we got to put Meek with it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now, number 4, the singer in Mr. Combs' Los Angeles home consorting with, underage and ladies and gentlemen of the night. The at this point, we're basically playing Jeopardy. So y'all answer it. Make sure that you put your answer in the form of a question. Here's your clue. He is a Grammy Award-winning singer who had trouble with law enforcement after assaulting a Bajan billionaire. Remember to put your answer in the form of a question. So you need to say, who is? Right. C. Patterson got it. Who is Chris Brown? This is some shit. C. Patterson got it. Oh my God. I was not expecting this. Okay. Chalice Recording Studios, Pow Pow. On or about September 12, 2022, Mr. Combs held a writers and producers camp at Chalice Recording Studio. Present at this camp were Mr. Combs, his son Justin Combs, and Justin's friend named G. Mr. G is a 30-year-old tall African-American male. In addition to these individuals, other musicians were present at the camp. This writer has spoken to several musicians who attended the camp. One evening during this camp, Mr. Combs, J. Combs, and G were in a heated conversation. Sorry, hold on one second. My mom hit me up. Hopefully she's not watching this. Y'all, we got 2,300 in the chat, but we only got 500 likes. Definitely hit that like button. It's appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We should be at least like 1,000 likes. It's just a free way to support the channel, and it's good for YouTube. That conversation was moved out of the studio and into a restroom adjacent to where Mr. Jones was sitting. Mr. Jones was approximately 2 feet away from the bathroom when pow pows rang out. Mr. Jones recalls hearing multiple pow pows. So if you're new to the channel, there's certain words that YouTube does not like. So I have redacted them in my own way, but you know exactly what the hell a pow pow is. Mr. Jones immediately went into a state of shock and feared that he would be pow powed next. Mr. Jones genuinely believed that he would be pow powed through the door due to how close he was. After it ended, a crowd gathered around the restroom. When the door finally opened, Mr. Combs and J. Combs exited. G was lying on the restroom floor in a fetal position, holding his stomach and bleeding out of his hip leg area. Everyone stood around looking upon G. Frustrated by the lack of aid to G, Mr. Jones dropped everything, ran to G, and immediately began placing pressure on G's wound to his stomach. As he was applying pressure on his stomach, Mr. Jones realized that G was gushing from another area near his leg and hip. He decided to lift G and placed him to sit on the toilet. Mr. Jones asked the crowd to call the ambulance. Mr. Jones lifted G and brought him to the ambulance at the studio's front. At this time, Mr. Combs and Justin disappeared to another part of the studio. Mr. Combs gave strict instructions to inform the police that he had nothing to do with it. He also forced Mr. Jones to lie to the police by telling them that G was not standing outside the studio was shot by a drive-by outside the studio. Y'all. What WTF, y'all? I don't even know. This is why J-Lo got out. This is why J-Lo never looked back and started dating white men. Because of Puffy. This is exactly why. Okay, so I told y'all that some of these images I can't show you guys. So let me just make sure that the next tab is not images. Hold on. Let me see. Okay, so we got one page before the images. I cannot show you the images. YouTube will get me. So this was the news article that came out about it. And it said, man bang banged outside party at Hollywood recording studio. At least one person was banged up at a party at a Hollywood recording studio. Officers were called to the 800 block. The man in his 30s was taken to the hospital in stable condition. He was reportedly got in the abdomen. No information was released about the subject, and it's not known if the pow pow was gang related. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to show that. Hold on, let me see. Take this out. So the next images, Mr. Jones has several corroborated witnesses who spoke with the writer anonymously due to the fear of retaliation from Mr. Combs. Well, yeah, he's taking people in the bathroom and, you know, either he's going to pow you or, you know, he's going to do what he did to Carisha. She admitted that there was a lot of golden sprinkles going on. So those are the two things that happened in the bathroom with Diddy. Golden sprinkles and pows. They have agreed to speak publicly only when subpoenaed. So let me make sure this image is not showing. Okay. So the images literally is a lot of red stuff all over this bathroom, a pair of pants. It looks pretty bad. The following screenshots are the aftermath of the restroom where G was pow. Mr. Jones has the clothing he wore that day and believes it may still have stains of DNA from G. Okay, so we can go back. The images are done. Okay. Clearly, G was not banged outside the studio as Mr. Combs instructed his team to report to law enforcement. Mr. Combs and defendants LR, MR, UMG, and CSR provided private security for the writers' camp. The security was porous and lackluster at best. The fact that either Mr. Combs and J. Combs were allowed to enter the CRS with weapons and those weapons were not confiscated by security is clearly a breach of duty by Mr. Combs, defendants, LR, MR, and UMG to protect Mr. Jones and the other attendees of the writers' camp. That is very valid. So you have carte blanche to show up to this event because you paid security with weapons that you are willing to use on your own friends. Who takes their friend in the, like, this is some real gangster shit. Who takes their friend in the bathroom and does this and just walks out like nothing happened? I didn't think the kids were dangerous. I know Misa's about to have a fit. Misa said, if y'all remember when Misa's son, Justin, got that DUI, Misa said, not my child. You're not going to take my child out and put him into this 50, 60-year-old party lifestyle. If these allegations are true, he's more than just that, Misa. He's followed all the way in Diddy's footsteps. And I know she doesn't want that. Nobody wants that. Diddy was allegedly putting his hands on her. She got out because she had to get out. As a result of this shooting, Mr. Jones is severely traumatized. Mr. Jones now suffers from PTSD, severe anxiety, depression, and insomnia. Okay. Throughout his time living with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones was the victim of constant, unsolicited, and unauthorized groping and touching of his manhole by Mr. Combs. These events took place in LA, New York, Florida, and the United States Virgin Islands. In addition to the unsolicited and unauthorized touching, Mr. Jones was forced by Mr. Combs to work in Mr. Combs' bathroom as Mr. Combs walked around without clothes on and showered in a clear glass enclosure. As a heterosexual Christian man, Mr. Jones was uncomfortable with Mr. Combs' advances and expressed his discomfort to Mr. Combs' chief of staff, Christina Coram. KK responded to Mr. Jones' complaint with, Sean will be Sean. KK also attempted to downplay Mr. Combs' groping of Mr. Jones' manhole and balls as friendly horseplay, stating that those acts were Mr. Combs' way of showing that he likes you. What? That's what he was worried about, that Diddy liked him. That's exactly what he was worried about, that Diddy liked him. Right. He was a heterosexual Christian man. And you got this. This one is crazier than the rest. Honest to God. This one is crazy. Let me take this off. The fact that people who work for him normalize this mess is BS. KK also attempted to... Despite these assurances, on several occasions when Mr. Combs began to undress and walk around his house unclothed, KK would say, "Okay, I'm leaving now," and she would disappear. KK knew what was about to happen. That's why she was disappearing. KK's hypocrisy is breathtaking at best or enabling at worst. Mr. Jones believes that KK aided and abetted Mr. Combs' assault of him and was working with Mr. Combs to groom him into accepting a homosexual relationship. Through these sexually deviant acts, one would say Mr. Combs has a pattern and practice of engaging in such nefarious activity. This ongoing conduct shows that Mr. Combs cannot be rehabilitated. So damn, he wants him locked away. Throw away the key. Throw away the key. So we got 3,000 watching, but we still don't even have 1,000 likes. Definitely hit that like button. It's a free way to Okay, so somebody now this we gotta talk about this. A man that doesn't know how to throw blows. Now, F. McSharkin, I don't know if you just got here, but we got to think, did he just bang, bang, pow, pow, whatever you want to say, Justin's friend in a bathroom? You think this man ain't scared for his life? He's scared. Cassie was scared. Cassie said that Diddy was sending people to her home, her parents' home, to get her back. One thing that these kind of people do is they make you feel like the only safety is with them, even if they're beating you, assaulting you, R-wording you. They make you feel like they are the only person who is there to protect you, and that when they are hitting you or doing whatever, it's love. This man was probably scared. This man was probably scared. He was feet away from the bullets coming out of the bathroom. They didn't care. Mr. Combs attempted to groom Mr. Jones into engaging in gay sex. Mr. Combs was aware that Mr. Jones looked up to and idolized music producer Stephen Aaron Jordan, Stevie J. Somebody who's idolizing. Well, I mean, Stevie J did do a lot for the Biggie album. So I guess if you are in that realm, you don't think about who Stevie J is. You think about who Stevie J was. If you don't know who Stevie J is, let me show you. Stevie J was on Love and Hip Hop. He was Jocelyn Hernandez's weird looking husband, and then he went on to marry Faith Evans. This is Stevie J. Stevie J is an American DJ, record producer, and television personality. Stevie J was part of the Bad Boy Records production team, The Hitmen. In 1997, Stevie J won a Grammy Award for his work on Puff Daddy's debut album. Throughout the late 90s, Stevie J produced several artists, including Mariah Carey, Tevin Campbell, Big, 112, Jodeci, Faith Evans, Jay-Z, and Eve. And dated Eve, too. And then married Faith. And we don't know what he did with Diddy. Take that. Stevie J was one of the producers on the Love album. Mr. Combs used access to Stevie J and his knowledge of Mr. Jones' admiration of Stevie J to groom and entice Mr. Jones to engage in homosexuality. Mr. Combs went so far as to share a video of Stevie J. Oh my God. Mr. Combs went so far as to share a video of Stevie J putting his thing in a white man's manhole without protection. This was done to ease Mr. Jones' anxiety concerning homosexuality. According to Mr. Combs, this is a normal practice in the music industry. Look, even Stevie J is doing it. Fix it, Jesus. Like, I can't. I don't even know what to say. Stevie J is doing it, so you need to do it. Okay. Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in sex. Oh my God. Hold on. Y'all. Oh my God. Hold on. Because there's some pictures. So I don't want the pictures on the screen. I don't know what they are yet. So give me 2 seconds just to make sure that they're safe. Because some of these pictures are not. I can't show that picture. Okay. So this one I can't show. Oh, I can't show that one either. Okay. Okay. So I can stop here. But I want you guys to, we want to do the redacted stuff. So I'm just going to read it and let you guys guess who we're talking about. I don't want to get my channel in trouble by showing y'all some of these pictures. So it says, Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in intercourse with rapper number 5. And number 5 is a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. Oh. I don't even know what to say. You're messy. Purely put it in the form of the Jeopardy question. Who is Meek Mill? Okay, so the pictures are screen grabs from Stevie J in that man's manhole. Okay. I was not expecting this, y'all. I wasn't expecting this.
That was not expected.
I don't even know. Okay, so that was the first clue. R&B singer number 6, which is redacted. And the clue for this one is, oh my God. The clue for this one is he performed at the Super Bowl and had a successful Vegas residency. Remember to put your answers in the form of a question. I'll give you another fact. Quantasia sued him. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we'll just fill in the blanks now that we have it. Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in. Let me stop. Let me get serious here. Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in what Phaedra's doing with Meek Mill, Usher, and Stevie J. Usher just got back in the media's good graces. Y'all definitely hit that like button. We're working overtime here. we are working overtime here. If you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe. Mr. Combs promised to make sure that Mr. Jones wins Producer of the Year at the Grammys if he engaged in this activity. The following screenshots of the video are of Stevie J in that white man's manhole that Mr. Combs provided to Mr. Jones. On Thanksgiving Day 2022, Mr. Jones was in Mr. Combs' house located in Miami, Florida. Young Miami and her female cousins were also present. Mr. Combs was intoxicated and offered some blow to Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones rejected him and proceeded to walk to the restroom. While using the restroom, Young Miami's cousin burst into the bathroom and began groping Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones believes that Mr. Combs sent her in there to assault Mr. Jones. As she entered the bathroom, she dropped to her knees and began. Well, y'all know what they used to call Phaedra, the head doctor. She began being the head doctor on Mr. Jones' exposed man part. Mr. Jones pushed her away and exited the bathroom. Young Miami's cousin did not accept Mr. Jones' rejection as she proceeded to follow Mr. Jones outside of the bathroom. She started undressing and attempting to straddle him, and, you know, what Phaedra was talking about, with the presence of Mr. Combs and his staff. So he was trying to get her to do him in front of everybody to kind of groom him into being okay with this kind of stuff. Dang. Once again, Mr. Jones. Okay, so I can show you all these pictures. I just can't show you the pictures on the next page. Okay. Once again, Mr. Jones pushed her off. The following are images from a video, and we have a footnote of Young Miami, her cousin, Mr. Jones, and Mr. Combs. Mr. Jones and Mr. Combs on Thanksgiving Day, right before Mr. Combs invited Mr. Jones into the restroom and attempted to force him to take blow. Young Miami and her female cousin who assaulted Mr. Jones on Thanksgiving Day. No, I can't show you all the other picture that's coming up. Trafficking. Throughout his time with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones was transported from California to New York to Florida and the United Virgin Islands. During this time, Mr. Jones was forced to solicit SEX workers and perform SEX acts to the pleasure of Mr. Combs. So now he's actually engaging in it. Wow. On or about February 4, 2023, Mr. Combs forced Mr. Jones to bring ladies and gentlemen of the night back to his home in Miami, Florida. So the footnote was the writer is in possession of a video that will provide copy to the court. I don't know how Diddy is saying this man is lying and he has no proof. Wow. Okay. Let me see if I can show you all this picture. Yeah, I won't do that one. It says, on or about February 2nd, 2023, Mr. Jones believes that Mr. Combs drugged him. Mr. Jones recalls waking up with no clothes on, dizzy and confused. he was in bed with 2 ladies of the night and Mr. Combs. He also recalls aimlessly wandering around the house with no clothes on. I would question, did any of your body parts hurt? That's what I would question in there, because that's right when you need to go to the police and get a kit done. And people think that men don't need those type of kits. They absolutely do. If you were drugged and taken advantage of. I definitely can't show this. This next picture is of the SEX workers in the next morning in the bed with him. On another occasion in Miami, on Thanksgiving night of 2022, Mr. Combs asked Mr. Jones and DeForest Taylor to enter the studio bathroom. He asked them for a $100 bill because he wanted them to do some blow with him. Mr. Jones was scared, but luckily he didn't have a $100 bill, so Mr. Combs waited a little later to do the blow with Young Miami. Carisha's name is all up in this. You knew it was coming. You knew eventually somebody was going to talk. If Naomi is saying it's crazy, it's crazy. Oh my gosh. And wait, are y'all catching this? Diddy won't do blow if he don't have a $100 bill. So he feels he's so rich that he won't snort anything out of anything less than a $100 bill. Okay. And I believe it. Later that evening, he required Mr. Jones to solicit SEX workers from Booby Trap on the river. Mr. Jones did so, and Mr. Combs forced him to engage in unsolicited SEX acts with these workers. So now you're fully involved. There's more photos that I can't show, but the workers that he did solicit were female. Shamar, you have to go to the front of this, the top of this video for this. Oh, I didn't see I had some super chats. Be Blessed says, this is why Misa was mad. She probably heard about it. Probably. Misa and them Misa does not want her son going down the path of Diddy. And I don't blame her. Be Blessed over well, now we got like 4,000 in the chat and not even 1,000 likes. Hit that like button. Thank you, Be Blessed. Bryn Cap says, poor thinking. I hope he got a lifetime supply of preparation aid. Fix it. Fix it. Not preparation age. Thank you for the super chat. Be Blessed said, singing Let It Burn. Gotta let it burn. Oh. Y'all are so messy. Y'all are so goddamn messy. I ain't letting nothing burn. Hey, Mrs. Parker said, Mims, where can we see the photos? Asking for a friend. I don't know if I could even put them on my Instagram. I'm trying to think. Where could I put these photos that you guys could see them? I don't have a Twitter. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. And I need you guys to follow me on TikTok because I need 1,000 subscribers before I can start going live there. So definitely, I'll drop the link to my TikTok before the end of this. Please subscribe there. Okay. Thank you guys for the super chat, but let's get back. As part of Mr. Jones' SEX worker recruitment tools, Mr. Combs provided Mr. Jones with an exclusive bad boy baseball cap and required him to wear it to the booby trap on the river as a signal to any SEX worker he approached that Mr. Combs was in town and had sent Mr. Jones to recruit them. So I'm going to show y'all these pictures. Evidently, these are the people we need to interview because he has a whole effing, I don't know what you would even call that. You show up with a bad boy cap and they automatically know, oh, we're going to get some money from Diddy. Go ahead and follow this man out. The sex shops know when Diddy is in town. That is crazy. This is absolutely crazy at this point. Mr. Jones had no desire to visit booby trap on the river. Mr. Jones had no desire to solicit SEX workers from the booby trap on the river. Mr. Combs used his power and influence to intimidate and force Mr. Jones into soliciting SEX workers from booby trap on the river. As detailed below, Mr. Combs used many tactics to maintain dominion and control over Mr. Jones. Apparently, these workers were accustomed to servicing Mr. Combs and would know that he is in town by the sight of the bad boy's baseball cap. The following are Instagram profiles of two of the SEX workers that Mr. Combs required Jones to solicit and also do at his home with him in Miami. So he turned this boy into one of his freak-off partners. Okay, I think we're good on pictures for the next 2 pages. This story is about to make me flare up. I'm done. Thank you for the super chat, Booty Butter. Mr. Jones had no desire to solicit or have SEX with the individuals in the previous paragraph. Mr. Combs used his power and influence to intimidate and force Mr. Jones into soliciting and sleeping with these women. The following is the phone number of another SEX workers that Mr. Combs required Mr. Jones to solicit and perform acts with at his home in Miami, Florida. Mr. Jones had no desire to solicit and or have SEX with the individual in the previous paragraphs. Mr. Combs used his power and influence to intimidate, force Mr. Jones into soliciting and sleeping with the individuals above. Mr. Combs used many tactics to maintain dominion and control of Mr. Jones. He promised him a Grammy for Producer of the Year. He offered him $250,000 to purchase all the instruments he wanted. He promised him ownership of his $20 million property. So that must have been when he was high. He must have been high. Because you remember when he was walking around with a very young, who's that little, he's like a little Caucasian kid who can sing. Usher's protege. The guy who sang Love. He had that, I think it was like Baby, Baby, Baby and Love. What is that little dude's name? Yeah, Justin Bieber. There's a video of Diddy with Justin Bieber, and he's telling him he's going to give him his home. That is sick. When you juxtapose him telling this grown man what he will allow him to do and have for $20 million if he goes along with all of his, sexual desires and proclivities. He told that to a very young Justin Bieber. Y'all remember that video, right? He was telling them this house is going to be yours. You want this, I think it was like maybe a Lambo. You want this Lambo, it's going to be yours. Mr. Combs would often switch up his approach. He would go from promising Mr. Jones the world to threatening Mr. Jones with physical harm. Mr. Combs threatened to eat Mr. I thought he was about to say Mr. Combs threatened to eat Mr. Jones out. But he said his face. Mr. Combs threatened to eat Mr. Jones' face and informed Mr. Jones that he is willing to unalive his mother, Janice Combs, if he must, in order to get what he wants. He is willing to unalive Janice Combs so he wouldn't think twice about harming Mr. Jones. So you going to take out your mama? Let me see what these pictures are doing. Okay, so we can do another page without pictures. On or about July 2nd, 2023, Mr. Combs had a listening party at his home. Present at the party were R&B artist number 9, Jay Combs, SEX workers, and some underage girls. So let's see who the R&B artist is. Remember, when you guess, do your guess in the form of a question. So he is a Grammy Award-winning R&B singer who had trouble with law enforcement after assaulting a Bajan billionaire. Okay. So present at this party was let's see who gets it. Who is Chris Brown? Assaulted a Bajan beauty. The event began at 7 p.m. Mr. Combs requested female SEX workers and required Mr. Jones to solicit them. An hour later, several SEX workers appeared. In addition to SEX workers, there were at least 5 women in the crowd that were under the age of 16. 15 is what, 9th grade? You turn in like 16 when you hit 9th. Mr. Combs forced all the women to drink laced de Leon liquor. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs laced the liquor with ecstasy. Mr. Combs did not check the identification of any of these underage girls. The presence of these underage women made Mr. Jones very uncomfortable. He attempted to leave, and Mr. Combs forced him to stay. Mr. Combs went so far as to take Mr. Jones' car keys to prevent him from leaving. After being forced to drink laced de Leon shots, Mr. Jones began feeling lightheaded and recalls passing out and waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning with no clothes on, with the SEX worker sleeping next to him. Screenshots of the video from that night are embedded. So that's what I cannot show you. This next page. The photos are of Diddy and some girl kissing, and then everything has this weird red light. They say what happens when you turn that red light on. And then it said Justin Combs with an underage female. Mr. Combs attempts to pass off Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. Mr. Combs believes that Mr. Combs was grooming him to pass him off to his friends. This fear became reality when Mr. Combs introduced Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. while they were on Mr. Combs' yacht. During the introduction, Mr. Combs suggested that Cuba get to know Mr. Jones better. He then left them alone in a makeshift studio on the yacht. Okay, so I can show you all these pictures. Right, a red light special. So this is Mr. Combs and Cuba Gooding Jr. moments before Mr. Jones was assaulted. As evidenced by video, of which screenshots are embedded below, Cuba Gooding Jr. began touching, groping, and assaulting Mr. Jones' legs, his upper inner thighs near his groin, the small of his back near his buttocks. I don't know why I think that's funny. And his shoulders. Mr. Jones was extremely uncomfortable and proceeded to lean away from Mr. Jr. He rejected his advances, and Mr. Jr. did not stop until Mr. Jones forcibly pushed him away. The following screenshot of the encounter, the following is a screenshot of the encounter with Cuba Gooding. So that one I'll show you. That one I'll show you. Oh, and I never remembered that. I never remembered to do that. Okay. Throughout his time with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones was under an implied work-for-hire agreement. He was not compensated for his time living with Mr. Combs or for the songs he produced. As evidence, he was listed as a producer for the following songs on the Love albums: Deliver Me, Stay Part 1, Reaching, What's Love, Stay a While, Moments, Need Somebody, Homecoming, and Tough Love. Mr. Combs and defendants, LR, MR, UMG, all benefited from Mr. Jones' work product. They failed to compensate Mr. Jones for his work. As a result, Mr. Combs, they were all unjustly enriched at the expense of Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones attempted to work with Mr. Combs to secure his publishing and royalty rights for the work he completed on the Love album. Mr. Combs only offered Mr. Jones $29,000 for 13 months, thousands of hours of work, 9 songs that made it to the Love album. Ironically, Mr. Jones was willing to take $50,000 with his publishing and royalties. Mr. Combs' self-serving greed would not allow him to pay Mr. Jones an additional $21,000. But remember, he had just offered him his $20 million home. Let me see if there's any other pictures. I don't see anything wrong with this one, so I'll show you. Mr. Combs' deceptive business practices became so bad that Mr. Jones was left with no choice other than to make a public plea on social media for Mr. Combs to pay him for his work. After publicly requesting that Mr. Jones do the right thing and pay him fairly, Mr. Jones received an onslaught of threatening messages from Stevie J and Love Records A&R DeForest Taylor. The text message say, "You playing?" He responds, "I'm in studio." "LO, you a 100% liar and weirdo. Good luck. Number's still the same. Run into Ninja. Come talk to me in public. on a public podcast and forum. Mr. Combs used his power and influence to threaten and intimidate Mr. Jones. According to Mr. Jones, Mr. Combs is very forceful and demanding. Take that, take that. Mr. Combs does not take no for an answer and would often threaten to inflict bodily harm on Mr. Jones if he did not comply with his demands. As detailed above, Mr. Combs threatened to eat Mr. Jones' face, amongst other things. Let me see. Okay, so the next set of pictures were good. Okay, we're okay. I'll show you guys these. On another occasion, while standing in Mr. Combs' bedroom, Mr. Jones was forced to watch as Mr. Combs displayed his pow-pows and bragged about getting away with shooting people. Mr. Combs shared that he was responsible for the pow-pow in the nightclub in New York with rapper Shine. I can just imagine Diddy being, we'll just say, under the influence and just talking. I could definitely imagine this. He shared that artist and Mr. Combs' girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, aka J-Lo, carried the pow pow into the club for him and passed him the pow pow after he got into an. J-Lo had us thinking that she was innocent. J-Lo, you got some explaining to do. J-Lo, you was part of the reason Shine got locked up. You know, work ain't honest, but it pays the bills. The Pow Pow and Chalice recording studios confirmed Mr. Combs' statements. These statements reinforced that Mr. Jones' fear of Mr. Combs and strengthened Mr. Combs' dominion and control over Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones was terrified of Mr. Combs. He felt like he could not tell him no. Mr. Combs consistently made it clear he has immense power in the music industry and with law enforcement. Mr. Combs made it clear that his head of security, Fahim Muhammad, had the power to make people and problems disappear. This man is definitely going to need some bodyguards. But I believe every word. Okay, so we can do another, like, we can go to page 30 is where I got to not show you guys the pictures. Okay, Fahim Muhammad. Now, when I see Fahim, it makes me think about how Diddy made them wear white fingernails and he liked dark chocolate men. Y'all remember what they said? He likes them dark and chocolate. And that's what the kind of gentleman of the night he would make Cassie get. Well, look at his head of security. Mr. Combs instructs his staff to always contact Mr. Muhammad if they are ever pulled over by the police in Miami or California. Upon information and belief, Mr. Muhammad spoke with the LAPD after G was pow-powed. He just put the LAPD in this. It said the LAPD was in CRS and witnessed all of the bodily fluids in the restroom, and they went with the bogus claim that the pow-pow of G occurred outside the club. This was all thanks to Mr. Muhammad's connections within law enforcement. Not Jenny with the Glock. I'm honestly, this is a whistleblower. Mr. Jones had no reason to believe Mr. Combs as he had seen firsthand. He had no reason to disbelieve Mr. Combs as he had seen firsthand through the shooting of G and the subsequent silence of the LAPD and the media that Mr. Combs indeed had the power to harm him. The LAPD spent hours in CRS after the pow-pow of G, yet there were no arrests. Mr. Jones witnessed the LAPD in the restroom pictured above, yet no arrests were made. The morning after the pow-pow, Mr. Jones and several others arrived at CRS, and G's blood was still on the floor of the restroom. Mr. Combs hired a cleaning crew to clean it up. Mr. Jones recalls seeing defendant Grainage visiting Mr. Combs' home in Florida and Los Angeles. It said, now this is the Number 15. TikTok is one of the most important short video platforms in the world. It has a significant impact on the spread of global music. Today, it is believed that the artists are paying more and more attention to producing music suitable for dissemination on TikTok. Due to failed contractual renewal negotiations between Universal and TikTok, a lot of music had to be removed from TikTok. Okay, but why are we seeing this? I don't know how that applies. According to Mr. Jones, whenever defendant Grange visited Mr. Combs at his home, it would be in the evening, and he and Mr. Combs would disappear for hours in Mr. Combs' bedroom. Okay. Defendant Grange sponsored and attended several love out. Oh, wait, is Grange the billionaire? I'm sorry. It's been a lot going on. Let's see. Okay, so this is Lucian Grange, y'all. It said he's a British record executive and music businessman. He's the chief executive officer, CEO of Universal. So he would go in Diddy's bedroom and disappear? Is this the billionaire guy? Let's see. Lucian Grange. Net worth. Oh, okay. He's not the billionaire. He's only worth $250 million. But he sounds to be Diddy's special friend. Sophia Richie's father-in-law. God dang. And it keeps on going. Okay. During these parties, defendant Grange knew or should have known that Mr. Combs was drugging the attendees through laced bottles of the Leon liquor. These parties were sponsored by defendants MR, LR, and UMG. As evidence above, these parties had SEX workers and underage girls present. It is no secret that Mr. Combs had specific bottles of alcohol designated for females and other bottles designated for his staff, his artists, and himself. This fact was detailed by former artists and bodyguards of Mr. Combs. As a sponsor of these events, defendant Grange had a duty and obligation to ensure that SEX workers and underage girls were not pregnant. On YouTube channel, The Art of Dialogue, former bodyguard Gene Deal exposed Mr. Combs' pill mixing method used to spike cranberry juice and orange juice. Shout out to Art of Dialogue. According to Mr. Deal, Mr. Combs would place ecstasy and other date R-word drugs and juices. Mr. Combs spiking bottles of Moet champagne in the VIP section of nightclubs. Mr. Combs would have a set of Moet champagne bottles for his artists and a set for the women. The writer has spoken with several former employees of Mr. Combs who witnessed defendant Coram instruct her staff to lace Champagne de Leon and Ciroc liquor bottles with ecstasy and other illicit drugs. Mr. Jones recalls seeing defendant Haberteman visiting Mr. Combs' home in Miami, Florida, Los Angeles, and California. According to Mr. Jones, Haberteman visited Mr. Combs at his home. It would be in the evening, and she and Mr. Combs would disappear for hours. So Puffy is knocking them all down. Everybody is disappearing for hours into Diddy's bedroom. How you going? Y'all, we got like 4,500 in the chat. Definitely hit that like button. I've read a lot of lawsuits, but this lawsuit is deep and So basically, that person is a sponsor. He's being messy now. He says, defendant Christina Coram is the Giselle Maxwell to Sean Combs' Jeffrey Epstein. This dude is funny. According to Mr. Jones, the 13 months he lived and traveled with Mr. Combs, he witnessed Mr. Combs display and distribute weapons from his bedroom closet in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, to questionable individuals dressed in all black. Not you putting in your complaint a picture of Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell, and then the picture that we all saw of Puffy on the at his house in Miami looking all sad. That is funny. This dude is pretty funny. I think Diddy's gonna settle with him. Defendant Coram required all employees from the butler, the chef, the housekeepers to walk around with the pouch or fanny pack filled with blow, GHB, ecstasy, MJ, gummies, and they had to be 100 to 250 milligrams each, and 2C, a pink combination of ecstasy and blow. It was important to defendant Coram to have Mr. Combs' drug of choice immediately ready when he asked for it. Defendant Coram ordered SEX workers. Defendant Coram ordered and distributed all those things that we just mentioned. As chief of staff, Defendant Coram was instrumental in organizing and executing the RICO enterprise. Defendant Coram had the following individuals execute the following tasks for the RICO enterprise. Stevie J recruits SEX workers and attends the parties in freak-offs. And we have a footnote. It says, we have a video of Mr. Combs, Stevie J, and Plaintiff Jones at a strip club. Mr. Combs is recording the video while coaching and training Plaintiff Jones how to recruit the SEX workers. Justin Combs, the son, solicits ladies of the night, underage girls, and SEX workers, and he would also engage in freak-offs. Brendan Paul works as Mr. Combs' mule. He acquires, distributes Mr. Combs' drugs and pow-pows. This man has this all broken down. Okay. So I can show you guys the next few pictures. It says Frankie Santella works alongside Brendan. While Brendan acquires and distributes Mr. Combs' drugs and pow-pows, Frankie carries the money and pays for the pow-pows and the drugs. Frankie Santella and Sean Combs. He hires the SEX workers and attends and participates in the freak-offs. The footnote is Frankie Santella is Vice President of Music Management and Strategic Partnerships, Vice President of Music Management and Strategic Partnerships, Combs Global. Moya Bond, Thanksgiving 2022, when Mr. Combs offered Mr. Jones blow. Mr. Combs funded and used his affiliation with local gang and gang leaders who would frequent his homes in LA and Miami to secure the drugs and pow-pows he obtained and distributed out of his homes in LA and Miami. Defendants executed their RICO enterprise with threats of violence, threatening to eat plaintiff's face, displaying and distributing pow-pows in plaintiff's presence, bragging about law enforcement being under his control, bragging about unaliving people, and bragging about bribing witnesses and jurors in the criminal case concerning the 1999 NYC nightclub shooting with Shine. So everybody's going down. Everybody is going down on Diddy and with Diddy. So we got more about the he said Mr. Combs is allowed to wreak havoc. I'm not supposed to be laughing at this, but some of the stuff he's saying is funny. While living and traveling with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones discovered that Mr. Combs has hidden cameras in every room of his homes. Now, y'all remember it was alleged that there were hidden cameras in his baby mama's house. the one that passed away. Kim Porter. They had alleged that there were hidden cameras in Kim Porter's house that she did not know about. Now, this man is saying there are hidden cameras in every house that Diddy has. Mr. Jones believes that Mr. Combs has recordings of defendants Lucen Charles Grange, Ethiopia Haberman, as well as other celebrities, music labels, executives, politicians, and athletes. Upon information and belief, these individuals were recorded without their knowledge and consent. And as in this case with the homosexual SEX tape of Stevie J that Mr. Combs provided to Mr. Jones, Mr. Combs possesses compromising footage of every person that has attended his freak-off parties and his house parties. Now that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. Stevie J, although we've heard like rumblings about his sexual proclivities, for Diddy to actually have full video of him with his face in the place and, you know, doing it raw, he did not know that Diddy had that, I believe. Upon information and belief, due to this treasure trove of evidence he has in his possession, Mr. Combs believes that he is above the law and untouchable. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs employs Jose Cruz as his IT director. This writer has spoken to several former employees of Mr. Combs who confirm that Jose Cruz is the gatekeeper of all of Mr. Combs' recordings. Upon information and belief, Jose Cruz intentionally... Now, they did this very, very quickly, because I can see that there are some mistakes in... They didn't even like proofread this before they put it out. Upon information and belief, Jose Cruz intentionally hides behind the camera and from social media and the internet due to all the incriminating acts he was required to record for Mr. Combs. Let's see. Let me make sure I'm not showing you guys anything that will get my channel in trouble. It says the members of the RICO enterprise all share a common purpose: to enrich themselves financially and sexually at the expense of producers, musicians, writers, creators, and artists by maximizing defendants' revenues through their fraudulent means. Let's see. It's a lot of the stuff on the RICO that we just kind of reviewed. They're reiterating a lot of the same facts. Defendants committed multiple acts of mail fraud. Defendants voluntarily and intentionally devised and participated in a scheme to defraud plaintiffs out of money in reliance on the mail. Defendants committed these acts with the intent to defraud plaintiff Jones and the artists, creators, musicians, and producers. Defendants used the mail for the purpose of executing the fraudulent scheme. Specifically, defendants agreed to each of the acts of mail fraud described throughout this complaint. In addition, defendants agreed to rely on the mail to secure wire fraud, cash payments from purchasers of the illegal firearms and drugs defendants required others to sell and distribute. Diddy, you in danger, girl. Like, I don't even know what to say to this at this point. Additionally, defendants agreed to facilitate these fraudulent purchases over interstate wires in furtherance of the fraud. SEX workers and prostitutes nationwide have received payments from defendants. Wow. And then we get back into the SEX assault and harassment. Mr. Combs violently gripped and palmed Mr. Jones' manhole and crotch without consent. Mr. Jones forced Mr. Jones to work with Mr. Combs to work in Mr. Combs' bathroom and watch Mr. Combs as he showered. Mr. Combs forced Mr. Jones to work in the studio while Mr. Combs stripped nude to get his body massage. Mr. Combs forced Mr. Jones to work while Mr. Combs walked around with no clothes on. As a result, Mr. Combs' conduct, plaintiff has suffered and continues to suffer harm, including physical injuries, severe emotional distress, humiliation, anxiety, I feel like this was all a humiliation ritual, to be honest with you. And then once they've gotten you in, they're done. You can go now. And I'm not even going to pay you the money that I actually owe you. Because y'all remember, Diddy's album was supposed to be Grammy. It was Grammy nominated, and it looked like he might actually win a Grammy. So the man did the work, but he did not get paid for it. He got paid for it with D. All right, let's see. They kind of go over Young Miami's cousin assaulting him. Diddy actually had a duty to protect him as his employer. It said defendant Sean Combs, Justin Combs, Christina, and Combs Global was directed specifically at Mr. Jones, who was the victim of Mr. Combs' sex abuse. And so he's now also saying that Diddy sex trafficked him. He feels like because they were going across state lines and he was forced to do this. And I guess he would be right in that. More about the underage girls. More about the employees aiding and abetting and his co-conspirators. There's like so many causes of action. So I'm not going to read all of them, just the ones that are let's see. Among the concrete steps that defendants Lucen Charles Grange, Ethiopian, blah, 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 aid the Combs sex trafficking venture. Between about 2000 and continuing to November 2023, defendants Lucen Charles delivery of vast sums of cash, likely millions of dollars, to Mr. Combs and his associates. In order to benefit from the Combs sex trafficking venture, defendants Lucen Charles Grange, blah, 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 failed to timely file required tax disclosures surrounding the funding of these trafficking parties with the federal government. Y'all, who do you think is helping this man? This is so detailed. But Diddy feels like he knows the law. He got the law in his back pocket. I think that this man was actually scared of Diddy. I think that this man realized that he was not going to get his money. And I think this man realized that there will be a level of protection for him if he does what Cassie did and put it all on paper and provide it to people like us. If Diddy thought that his career was over before, he ain't seen nothing yet. He's saying that he has to preserve everything. So that would mean the IT records. If Diddy, I don't think Diddy's going to take this to trial. There's no way Diddy could take this to trial. The discovery alone, there's absolutely no way Diddy could take this to trial because there's tapes of all this stuff. So he's going to settle. But Chris Brown, Usher, Meek Mill, all of these people, J-Lo, y'all, I did not have time to actually go over all this before we went live, but y'all know I'm going to be getting on the phone with the attorneys and there'll be more details. Y'all know I am. So if you're new to the channel, you got to subscribe. We are very close to 135,000 subscribers. Yeah, we're pretty close. So definitely subscribe, hit that like button, and I'm going to go to work on, we're actually less than 100 people away from 135,000. But yeah, I'm going to be going over this, Trust you will get some more content about this tomorrow after I can talk to the attorneys and see exactly what this means for Diddy. Y'all know how we go around here. Y'all know what goes on this channel. Y'all, if you are catching this on the replay, please let me know if you believe this, if you don't believe it, or if you feel like more lawsuits are going to be coming out. TD Jakes, how did you get back in this? So you thought that just going to Diddy's party was bad enough that you were associating with him now, but Diddy has actually told somebody that you were going to be a tool used to make his image look better. What the hell is going on?
It is ridiculous. It's just completely ridiculous.
I don't even...
How do you suck the dick of a coward?
Y'all, on that note, TT Jakes, please disassociate yourself from Diddy. I mean, just being named in this lawsuit is not a good look. It's not a good look. So, either way it goes, y'all, thank you guys for being here. This is my third video for the day. Your boy is tired. My back hurt. I got to go to my personal trainer. The training sessions are crazy, but I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to see you guys later. Have a good night because I'm tired. Diddy, don't pee on me.